Michelle Beckham Corbin, President of C3 Creating Connections Consulting, a social media marketing firm.
And I'm Mark McCumber, President of McCumber Creations.
Welcome to our show on social media.
Digitally speaking.
If you happened to catch our last show, we were talking about understanding the power of Google+. And in the conversation that Mark and I were sharing, we discussed a little bit about Google+'s history, how the platform is used today, and we talked about some of the really key capabilities, like Google+ Hangouts. And if you want to know what a Hangout is, you're going to have to go back and do a search on YouTube or check out the ACTV website for show number 4. We also addressed some of the similarities between Google+ and Facebook, and Mark posed a great question. He wanted to know which one will win in the end. So again, if you want to hear what the conclusion that we came up to on that, you're going to have to check out the show. Today, we are going to be talking about social media analytics, and you're going to learn a little bit about what that means, how you use them, and if you're not using them, why you really should be. So welcome back.
Well, we hope you paid attention in math class because analytics get very, very deep, and the statistics of analytics there's some great information that can help businesses and small business owners, and really anyone for that matter. It gives you the ability to gauge and measure, and welcome to statistics.
That's right. And you know, before you can really do that gauging and measuring, you really have to know what your objectives are. You've got to set some KPIs, which are key performance indicators, and you really have to have a good pulse on what your business objectives are. So what is it that you want people to do, right? Because with social media, it's all about engaging in the conversation, making people aware of our products or services, but we want to go beyond that awareness piece. And I think initially when the social media platforms came out, most businesses, and it's talking about small businesses, don't you agree, Mark? We're focused more on let's just raise awareness. Let's get our Facebook
brand
page
recognition,
up.
just
yeah.
Somebody sees me and kind of realizes what we do and what we offer, but this takes it to a whole new level.
Absolutely. And so we want to go beyond that awareness, and we want to get to the point where people, again, are going to take that action, buy our services, sign up for the 5K race, whatever it is that we are promoting. And so you need to do some of that pre-work first in terms of creating some strategies. So determining where should you really be from a social media perspective, because we can't be on every single platform. We've got to be very strategic about where we're going to meet our target audience. But once we're there, we've got to have some strategies in terms of the content that we're going to share, how we're going to get people to kind of talk to us. And in social media language, it's called engagement, how they're going to engage with us. And that kind of needs to be the starting point.
And we're really entering into your realm of specialty, because as a marketing specialist and someone who focuses on social media, I think one of the hardest things as an entrepreneur and small business owner is that it's very difficult to put a really comprehensive, succinct marketing plan together where it really makes sense, where you really have your benchmarks set and you really know where you're going, how you're going to get there, and how you're going to achieve what you want to achieve, which is to obviously increase your business and more sales in whatever particular business that you're in. But your point is very, very well taken, because there are so much to the analytics and the statistics that to navigate through those, some amazing tools, but you really have to know how they work. And I have a question for you on that. Sure. Because I understand that within within Facebook, if you have a business page, I think, isn't there a cap or a minimum of how many people that you have to have that are following you or have liked your page or have subscribed before you can even actually get into the deeper analytics. Is that not correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And what the number is right now, I'm not sure because Facebook is constantly changing things. I know it's not an astronomical number. It's something that's very manageable. If a business was really just starting out with a Facebook page, they could quickly reach that number just by contacting the people that they already are connected to. Maybe checking out their mail list, getting some family and friends or whatever, just to kind of get that initial number. But once the number kicks in, you're right, Facebook has something called Insights, which is free, and there are a lot of analytics there. Everything from demographics of your fans as well as the people who are coming to the page, because we have to remember that people can still read the content that we have on a Facebook page, even if they have not liked the page. They can actually even comment even if they have not liked the page. So you kind of may have two different audiences there, or two different kind of pools of people. But it's interesting because you can look at the demographics and find out, the male to female ratio, how many countries and which countries are your followers coming from, cities, all kinds of great information. And I find it really fascinating. I was working with a client a couple years ago, and their business, and I don't want to get into specifics, but their business really is a universal business, universal services. But the demographics were showing that they were highly skewed towards women. And so my recommendation to them was you need to kind of mix up your content and try to post some articles, content that really appeals to men so that you can start to build up that part of your following. So even something as simple as looking at those demographics. But you can take a look at, you can go deeper and take a look at your actual posts to see when you do share a piece of content, how many of the views were organic, meaning views from the fans that you already have. How many were viral, meaning that your piece of information was seen by, let's say, friends of fans. And obviously that's always good because you want to break beyond your own little ceiling of followers. You want to be able to reach other people. Yeah, new audiences. So those are just a couple of the pieces. You can even take a look and see, on a given day, did you lose likes? So did you lose fans to the page? And you can take a look at what you posted and say, okay, was it something controversial? Did I overpost?
Right.
Did
I not post enough?
Or yeah.
It looks like a ski slope, folks. If you haven't seen the analytics, they often go like a big wave, and that's interesting. Now, I have another great question, I think, for you. As some of us who have been on Facebook for a while, just as we've seen how the personal Facebook works and our friends, and we're seeing lots of food appearing now on people's Facebook posts more often than faces. We're seeing lots of food. However, the difference between the business page and the personal page, there are some remarkable differences to how those operate and how they work, even without the analytics and the abilities to even get into that. And I think that's another interesting thing as people try to start navigating and building a business page. What kind of recommendations would you have for someone just starting out into that and putting a page together, even almost before we get to the strategies of that, if we're going to put a good solid page? Any really super hot tips for that?
Fabulous question. Absolutely fabulous. Because what you're noting, Mark, is that beyond making that connection with content, we're actually building a vehicle that is a marketing piece, right? And so Facebook does give the page owner some capabilities that you don't necessarily have on your personal page. One of them being the cover photo. Yes, we have cover photos on our personal page as well. But what you want to think about is taking that cover photo and really thinking about it from a billboard standpoint. What kind of visual information and text can I share that kind of gives a little bit of information about my company or the essence of my company? Now, I do want to kind of slow that down by saying Facebook has some pretty distinct regulations. As a matter of fact, prior to about 8 months ago, you could not add your phone number or website on that cover
the banner,
photo.
on that,
They wanted it pretty much just to be image. And so they've backpedaled, they've realized that, there's a need to put some text on these cover photos. And so there's a percentage. So as long as you're kind of within that percentage of image to text, you're in good shape. The other piece, it's kind of a tip that I like to share with my clients and now with everybody else who's watching this video, is you want to change up that cover photo. You don't want it to just be something that's going to stay parked there forever. Use it to highlight something that's happening in your business or changing of the seasons or anything that's creative that will catch people's attention. And the second piece going along with that is always remember cover photos are an image, they're a JPEG. So in that photo description, make sure you have a link back to whatever your call to action is, like your website, so that if somebody shares your cover photo because it's a great image, you've got some cool things on it, and they share it as a photo to their friends, you want your business information to go along with it. So that would be my recommendation there. Now, from a marketing point of view, Facebook also gives you the ability to have some what I call banner images. So let's say you've got something that you want to share that's just great news, or new opening for a store, new product. You can create a photo that is in the same dimensions of the cover photo, which is 851 by 315 pixels, and you can share that as a piece of content and then click on highlight, which is an option, a drop-down option, and then have your image go completely across both halves of the timeline so that when somebody comes to the timeline or to the page, it's very impactful. The other piece is if you're going to share just a regular photo in your update with your story or link or whatever, you can make sure that you're formatting it to the optimal size, which I believe is 404 by 404 pixels, just so that you don't have heads that are chopped off when they're viewing it in the timeline, et cetera. It's just perfectly,
good format. Yeah,
fitting into the pieces. The other thing that a lot of people skip out on is the About section. They may use that section to share a little bit about the business, but there's a lot of space. And that's your opportunity to kind of share the types of things that you might have on your website about the business. And also to share other links. Maybe a link to your LinkedIn company page or a link to your Twitter account, et cetera, so that people get the full breadth of how they can connect with you.
Well, these are all really, really great tips, because I think there is a broad differentiation of what you can do between your personal account and your business page, and a lot of opportunity to really get your message out, and a great way to get your brand message across and reach a market and be able to analyze and really take a look at how the impact of this particular little strategic piece of your marketing plan is going to work for you. And back to our statistics and to our analytics, because I understand that as it grows and as you get more and more people, you can really start to read those statistics. They get pretty broad-based, do they not?
Yeah, I think you can really kind of really drill down and get some really great information. I think the key is really understanding how to use even the analytics that Facebook gives you. And there are lots of tutorials out there. Facebook has their own, so people can kind of read up on it. But I would recommend that people just kind of spend some time reading through that. Now, for folks that really need to go beyond that, there are a lot of other great tools that will measure some additional things as well as what Facebook gives you. And stepping back for a second, Mark, I think that I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that you can schedule posts. Whether you're using Facebook or whether you're using one of these third-party dashboards, you have the ability to schedule some of your content and posts ahead so that you can kind of manage it. And that gets back to the whole idea that, once you have that strategic plan of where you need to be, et cetera, before you can even get to measuring anything, you really need to to have the strategies for how you're going to actually work the social media. And one thing that can help you out is to create a publishing calendar, something that will kind of lay out the kinds of content that you want to share over the month. And that's where scheduling can be very helpful. You know, if you've got the things that you know, maybe every Wednesday is Wacky Wednesday Video Day, or whatever the strategy is for your business, you can go ahead and plug those in into that dashboard or into Facebook and have it, you know, kind of preset.
So a series of benchmarks that you can follow. So you say, hey, here's my strategy. You know, on this day we're gonna drop this. On this day we're gonna drop this. Okay, art department, we've got to have all the graphics done. Who's the art department? Oh, it's me. I better get to work. I better get my graphics done because I got a deadline. You know, and I forgot all about it. But no, I mean, I think that's what we look at as small business owners these days of wearing all the hats. And we were kind of chatting about this before the show about all of the things you have to do and understand in order to do this. But it's such a critical piece of taking advantage of this incredible opportunity that these new platforms create for us.
Right.
In the old days, you bought advertising,
Yeah.
and it was expensive to get a little blurb, and hopefully somebody read it or saw your truck drive by or saw a sign posted somewhere. And now we have the opportunity to get to, oh my God, it's unbelievable.
Well, you know, you talk about advertising. Facebook's doing a fabulous job with advertising. You can actually dial down into your specific target market. Let's say you've got a product or a service. You want to target women between the ages of 25 and 45 in Cincinnati who like hiking and have mentioned that they own a tent or something. You know, you can dial down so that your ad will appear on the pages or the news feed of those specific people. And what I love about Facebook advertising is that you set your budget. So whatever it is, when you've hit that number for the month, it stops. You don't have to worry about, you know, continually being billed.
Right. Sure.
And the analytics actually behind the advertising are also fabulous. You can see, you know, how many clicks you've gotten and views, and it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Well, far more sophisticated, and to some degree, than what you would go through with advertising when you used to put an ad in a magazine, hope that somebody that you were trying to sell a particular product or service to would see it, remember it, and maybe give you a call. This is so much more present in the moment, if you will, where you're going to say, we're going to target this one specific market because we have this product or this service that we know that if we get to this, we can get to enough people, we'll be successful, and we'll sell the product, and we'll stay in business. And
well, and the beauty of it is,
you
you know, this kind of ties into your background with web. Boy, in your ad, you make the clickable link directly to the page on your website that is your sales page.
Sure.
And you can measure from your website analytics, you know, how many sales did
Sure.
you get that came from Facebook?
Sure.
So I really do think it's just raising awareness, which is what we're doing here, so that small businesses know that we're well beyond the world of how many likes do we have, and that's what we're measuring. And boy, we're successful if we got 5 more likes today. Way beyond that. You really need to get to how are we building our business? And is this effort, are we getting a return on the effort that we're putting forth? And you should be. If you're doing it right, you should be.
well, these are all just great tools. I mean, there's so much to it, and it's exciting because someone like myself, when I do have time to sit and go through the learning curve of what it takes to navigate through all of this, and I find all these amazing things that I wish I had more time.
You can hire me.
See, there you go. That's exactly right. And I think there does become a line at some point for us as business owners, small business owners, or even mid-range to large business owners, that having someone such as yourself is really critical, because even as much energy or information as that we can accumulate in the information that we get, it doesn't take the place often of a professional who does it every day, all day long, which is why someone such as yourself can be really pivotal in helping someone figure out where they are, where they need to go, and what they have to do to get the results that they want to get. And that's
Yeah.
That's the key to the whole thing.
Well, and then for folks that would love to just get some information though on their own, I just want to recommend a couple of blogs. Check out the Mashable blog and the Social Media Explorer blog, or Social Media Examiner. They're both good. And do some searches for analytics. Facebook Analytics, Google Analytics, et cetera, and do some reading on your own to try to get, at least an understanding. Because I think for any small business owner, the key to tackling all of this is knowledge and education. Because even if you hire someone else, you bring somebody on for your company or you outsource, boy, you better have a pretty good understanding, at least in general, of how these things work. Because if you don't, you're not really going to know,
Right.
If you're...
It's kind of like your books. You need to know what's going on.
Exactly.
You really do. You need to keep your finger on the pulse of your books and on your marketing, because the more you know, the more you have to work with. So,
Yeah.
Good stuff. We'll probably be talking about this off and on for a while.
Throughout,
Because
as we weave through the different
as we
pieces.
do, and as things change.
Right. So
But,
Hootsuite and TweetDeck are two dashboards that you'll also want to take take a good look at.
So, as we move on, we've got some other great topics to talk about.
That's right.
And another platform that has been geared toward really professional business to business, B2B type things is LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, from my perception, that got kind of off to a little bit of a slow start. People were, we got Facebook, we've got LinkedIn. Some people didn't want to use Facebook. Some people would only use LinkedIn. LinkedIn seems to have made a huge leap recently.
Yeah, I think, LinkedIn has been around now, I want to say for almost 10 years, roughly. And when it first came out, I really think that people felt that it was for job search, that it was just kind of the new electronic way to share your resume.
Yeah.
And what it truly is today is a social media platform. It's a professional social media platform. So it's where folks, I don't want to just say business folks, it's really any profession, where professional people can create a profile that has all of their information, their education, their work experience, their interests, their skill set. It has a place to house recommendations, which I love, because if I'm going to work with someone or I'm getting ready to meet someone that I don't know, it's kind of wonderful to take a look at their LinkedIn profile and see what are other people saying about them. Whether it's their coworkers, their clients, their management. It just gives you another snapshot for the full picture of the person.
Boy, have they made it easy for you to recommend your friends and or peers, because they remind you quite frequently that hey, recommend your friend for this. And I think that's a really super clever idea on a lot of levels, because not only is it, hey, by the way, I'm getting an email saying, by the way, Chip, recommended you for all of your skills that you have. And I said, great. You want to recommend him back? Sure, man, he's great. I love Chip. He's going to give him all that stuff. And would that then not, because of the activity and the change and all of the things that's going on within that, also keep the alerts going for the spiders who love change?
Very good statement and question, kind of all wrapped into one.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, and in reality, and just so that I can kind of set this straight for the folks who'll be watching it, there are really two different things that LinkedIn has. It has recommendations and it has endorsements. And so when you're talking about seeing that message kind of popping up constantly, that's actually endorsements, where you're going to see a little box and you'll get a question. Does Tom Jones have these skills? And then you see the skills, and if you click yes, you then endorse the person for the skills in that box. But when we're talking about recommendations, that's where we can have someone do kind of that old-fashioned thing of actually writing a recommendation.
That's right. I got those confused, but you're right.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
And there's a way within LinkedIn to ask for recommendations. There's a process, there's a form that you can use so that you don't have to feel uncomfortable, you know, about contacting someone. Everyone that's on LinkedIn realizes that that is part of the system. What I tell people is, never use the canned language that is there. I'd like, you know, to ask you to recommend me, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, you know, be very specific. Tell the person what you want to be recommended for. So in other words, maybe you worked on a project together. Hey, don't say hey, you know, unless you've got that close of a relationship, but I'd love to have you recommend me and speak to the work that I did on project ABC and, you know, the strategic focus that I brought to it, et cetera. Because the people that we've worked with who like our work really want to write a recommendation for us. Everybody's busy. Everybody has the 50 lists on, you know, to-do list. Make it easy for them. You know, be very specific about what you want. And the other beautiful piece is, Mark, your recommendation doesn't automatically appear on your LinkedIn profile. You have the ability to take a look at it and see, okay, does this really fit? Are there any grammatical errors? Because the recommendation is a reflection on you, even though you didn't write it.
Sure.
And LinkedIn has a built-in format for you to be able to send that recommendation back and say, hey, you know, I love what you said, but I really worked on that project for 4 years and not 3 years. Could you change that? And then send it back in. But just to kind of give folks an idea of how huge LinkedIn is, there are over 200 million members on LinkedIn. And every single Fortune 500 company has their leadership represented on LinkedIn.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, LinkedIn, another great, quickly burgeoning platform for people to use. I've noticed a lot of change in LinkedIn, and it's offering a lot more things, and a lot more people are taking advantage of it and using it a lot more. And I have some funny stories about recommendation letters that I've asked for people to write for me in the past, and some have written really comedic ones. They're really funny, and they go, well, that wasn't the real one. I'm going to give you the real one later. Or folks that have said to me, oh, well, you just write the letter and I'll sign it. I go, well, I can say anything I want. You know, great. That's great. I can talk well about myself, and then you'll just sign it, right?
Well, you know, and for some people that are super busy, they might want that.
Well,
you
it's
know,
happened to me more than once.
Yeah, I mean.
So your lead in saying, hey, give me some ideas about what, I think that's a great idea, because we are all pressed for time in this day and age, and that's always a good thing. If you can say, hey, you know, I'm really trying to focus on this. Can you elaborate on this particular point? And it helps them, helps you, and well, all this great stuff. It's all rocketing by so fast, and then we're touching base on all these great things, and things are changing rapidly every day in this industry. And as a result of the social media, we get all this incredible new opportunity to help grow our businesses, and for that matter, educate ourselves.
Right, and to connect with our kind of constituents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So every day is a new learning experience. It's like you wake up and you go, wow, something new and exciting is happening, and all that good stuff.
Right, and next time, or I should say in the future, we'll have to kind of really delve into how do you use LinkedIn to market yourself, how to use LinkedIn to market your company, because there are company pages too that we didn't get a chance to touch on.
Hot topics for the next show.
That's right.
Well, having said that, we want to thank everybody in the viewing audience and all of our friends, neighbors, family, folks who are spreading the good word about Digitally Speaking. Thanks to ACTV for hosting us, and we're having a great time doing this show, and hopefully we will see you next time when we'll have our next episode of Digitally Speaking.
That's right.
Thank you.